Hello brewers, hello YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're brewing in the cool room because it's 37 degrees Celsius. It's hot. Today we're going to brew this, brewers. This is our gold medal, award-winning Hazy Pale Ale, and we're going to give you the recipe. So come along and brew with us. It's a double brew day, it's a big day, and it's hot, damn hot. Fuck, it's hot. Mic on? Testicles? Alright, so we're just preheating the mash tun, brewers. Shooting for a mashing temp to 67 degrees. Single infusion mash, so we just want to heat that stainless up. Just run our hot liquor through the spray balls and you feel the stainless heating up. Good start. Overload went in the auger. Good? Yeah. Nothing's a problem. I'm putting in rolled oats. Rolled oats. This is real sweat, brewers. We're making beer on a very humid day. Yeah, salts are in, rice hulls, and grain. We're shooting for 67 degrees Celsius, brewers. Just gonna add a bit of hot liquor. We're at 66.5. Just slowly want to bring it up to our strike temp. Give it a love tap. All right, that's our strike temp, 67 on your dot. Recirc pump off. Software on. All right, that was intense. It's hot, damn hot. I'm spinning around. Take the pH sample. We're going to take the pH sample now, brewers. We've hit our strike temp. Does smell good, Clary. Brewers, we have just mashed in. We made our strike temp 67 and we've just taken a pH sample. We're 5.21 at 36 degrees Celsius. We're shooting for 5.2, so we're a little high at the moment because we're at 36. So I'm just going to add another 50 grams citric acid, because that's what I like. You can use all three that guy, whoever he was, said. I like to use citric acid because I believe in the final product, you can tell the difference. So I'm going to add another 50 grams. All right, brewers, now we're going to prep our hops and our salt additions for the boil. So why don't you come along and brew this at home with us. So we'll put the recipe in the description below. So we're using Citra, Mosaic and Eldorado. 3 editions. So our first edition is just a kettle stability edition. So it's 150 grams. So the rate is 150 grams is going to add 4 IBU. 150 grams exactly. All right, that's our first edition. 400 grams El Dorado for 15 minutes. And that's going to give us 5 IBU. 400. We're doing a double brew day today, brewers, and to make matters worse, we're filming fucking TikToks as well as YouTube. So this is the sort of shit I have to deal with. Okay, final edition, 5-minute boil. We have 900, oh, beautiful, mosaic, 900 grams, gives us 5 IBU. $900 grams exactly. Oh my godfather. You ready?
Yeah.
You what?
Do it one more time.
Oh, Claire, see what I've got to deal with, brewers? This is a double brew day on a Sunday, and I'm
You love it.
doing this shit. All right.
Wait, you want to mix now?
Yeah, you smell them. I'm a professional. All right, so like I said, brewers, what we want you to do is brew this beer at home, because if you're an American or, you know, if you're not in Australia, you can't try Flamin Galah beer. So this is a gold medal beer. This is our Hazy Pale, won gold at the IBA, so everyone can follow along. We'll put the whole kit and caboodle. We'll put the whole recipe in the description below, so you can brew it at home. You can all send them to me and I'll be very judgmental. No, I'm joking. But at least you can have a Flamin Galah beer at home. So, because it is a double brew day, brewers, we've got no downtime. We're just about to set our mash. There's 20 minutes to go. Turn our rakes off. And just so we don't get behind the brew day, we're going to prep the next brew. We're also going to talk about how you pick up time when you double brew, efficiency in the fermenter on the cold side, efficiency with your yeast pitch, because effectively we're making a big starter. We're going a bit hot into the uni tank and we'll pitch our yeast, so we're creating a liquid starter basically, and then we'll send in our next brew. You pick up time along the way, because as we're in the kettle we're mashing in again, so you pick up a lot of time. So a single brew day could take 6 hours, but a double brew day will only take about 8 or 9. Yeah, so we've got plenty to do. We're going to go and mill the rest of the grain. Of course you would. Get out of my face. All right, brewers, now we're going to perform the burl off. We're just going to set our pump back to 16 hertz. We don't want to squash that mash. So we've set our mash rates off for 20 minutes. So we've established the mash, and the mash bed has settled and set. And now we're going to burl off, which is recirculate for 15 minutes, and then we're going to begin the transfer to the kettle. I'm not filling the auger because you'll set the overload off, Clary. But we're filling the grist case. Yeah, and then we're going to prep the rest of our grain, have all the bags open, ready to go. Also going to do a sanitation loop, sani loop in the FE3. And we're going to do a sani loop and product line loop in the whirlpool. So keep moving, we don't want to get behind the brew. So with chemicals, always refer to your MSDS sheets for dose rates and safety precautions. Oh, I thought I had that. Dude, PPE. You should always wear gloves and eye protection, brewers. I do have PPE, brewers. All right, mash complete. Let's start the transfer, brewers. We'll just run that Verloff for another 2 minutes because I'm just not quite happy with the clarity yet. So while that happens, we'll prep our circulation. So with this first run of paracetic acid, brewers, we're going to have an open line and we're just going to remove any contaminants from the product line and in the pump housing. See it's running through. It also removes any airlock that may be in the product line and pump. Crack out dump valve. That first bit of paracetic we're going to coat the tank and run out any contaminants, dust or debris that's in the tank. On every video I always show that brewing's a process and we never skip any steps. So on every long form video that we have done, I'll show you how to sanitize the uni tank. So effectively now we're just using the tank as the reservoir. Now we're just using the tank as a circulation loop with the sanitizer. Proceed. Brewers, we've pre-acidified our hot liquor tank to 5.3 on the pH scale. As you can see, it's 5.27. Fizz, big fizz, 5.22. Pre-acidified, we'll just bring it down to 77. We're at 79.5 at the moment. And then we're going to begin our transfer. So we're going to preheat our kettle, bring that stainless right up to about 60, 65 degrees Celsius. We'll let that hot liquor just drain out. Yeah, so we've got our Sani loop and product line loop and heat exchange loop. So we're going to sanitize this vessel once today, the whirlpool. Even though it's a double brew, we're only going to sanitize it once because our wort will be sanitized when it goes in to the whirlpool vessel. We've got the Verloff going on in the mash tun and we're preheating our kettle at the moment as well. We've also, hear that? We've got a full grist case ready for the next brew. So we've got a bit on. Remember, brewers, when you're double brewing, stay ahead of the brew. Don't get behind the brew. Don't get behind the aircraft. You know? Start the transfer. We're going to slowly crack the transfer valve and then close that Verloff valve so we don't compact the mash. Kick the kettle in the guts. I'm going to turn the kettle on. Listen out for any failures. I double checked that all the valves in the dump valve of the kettle is shut. I'm going to show you along the way how we pick up that extra time and what we have to do to our hot liquor. So on the second batch we can maintain our fly sparge temperature. Once basically we finish this fly sparge, we ramp the kettle right up to 95 degrees Celsius. And the reason being, we recapture our cold water side of our heat exchange. It goes back to the kettle. And by the time we're knocking out on the first brew, we should be about sending to the kettle and beginning to fly sparge. It goes, my kettle didn't start. Mi scusi. The adjustment on the kettle for this type of humidity is it's shut a bit too much. So we need more oxygen clarity to the kettle. So because it's such a humid day and hot here, I had to open up the oxygen inlet on the direct fire kettle and then hit the reset button. So I'm listening out. I can't remember what I was talking about prior to that. I'm talking about the fly sparge. Any goss, did you say? What do you want to know, brewers? Leave them in the comments below. See that? Kettle's going now. Just needed that little bit more oxygen to ignite. Such a humid day. We're 94% humidity. Starting our fly sparge now. Right, 200 grams calcium chloride. What is this shit? 100 grams of gypsum. Sheetrock. There are our salts. Yours are probably different. Leave a comment and tell us what your salts are. Your water profile. Tell us about your water profile, brewers. We should do a video on water profile. We use, actually, that's a good question. Someone asked me if we remove the chlorine. We also have fluoride and chlorine in our town water. We don't use town water, we use rainwater, brewers. So very soft water, low mineral content, and it's perfect for beers like this. So no, we don't have to dechlorinate our water. We use rainwater. We're double brewing. No Q&As when you double brew, brewers. So just prepping the second batch hops, just so we can close up the hops and they don't oxidise. We can get them back in the cool room. Right, these heat sealers, brewers, are really good for preserving your hops. And if you look in the link in the description below and head to our Amazon, you'll see they're for sale on Amazon. I've had this for 7 years, brewers. Never had to replace anything on it. It's a ripper. It's a ball terror. Get these hops back in the fridge, and then I love you, Rick. All right, brewers, we're gonna kill the Sani loop, dump out the Sani, and then we're gonna run wort through the heat exchange and then back into the kettle. When the kettle boils, we'll run it through. So it's a secondary sanitation of the 100-degree wort. So we'll do that now. What we want to do, we want to get all that parasitic acid out of the heat exchange and the product line before we send it into the kettle. And the reason being, if we don't, we'll get a massive pH drop. So open up our valves. Send that parasitic acid out. You can see the change here to wort. Then we'll just slow it down till we see wort. Come on, mate. Groundskeeper Trevi. So that'll stop that massive pH drop. Just run that till we get it nice red hot. All right, so now, brewers, our heat exchange whirlpool are completely sanitised and ready for fresh wort. We're just on the transfer now on the fly sparge. We'll do our 1,000 litre check soon. We're going to check for gravity. Obviously, we don't want to go below 1010 on our last runnings. We're at 750 litres and we're just performing a fly sparge. So that's sparging on the run, on the fly, that's where it comes from. So this brew is probably one of the best you can do at home. Anyone can do it because it's just single infusion mash, readily available hops and yeast. You can follow along and brew it at home. Like I said, we'll put the whole recipe in the description below so you can have a Flamin Galah beer at home. Okay, brewers, 1,000 litre checks. Just going to run that sample port right out so we get the correct gravity reading. So anything that was caught in the sample port previously, we run out. So we're hot, we're at 10, 14, 10, 15, so we're looking good. Nice clear wort, still a bit of haze about it from those oats. Brewers, we've cut off our fly sparge now and we're just gonna, if you have a look in the mash tun, we've just got a little bit of the hot liquor that's going to wash the last of the grain off. Where our pre-boil volume is 1,254 litres. That's all calculated by the Brewfather software. Buy through the link in the description, you'll get a 5% discount. So check it out, brewers. I went from a 2017 Bunnings book, a Bunnings diary, all by hand and had to do all the calculations myself. The Brewfather does it all for you. And that's one of the best things about Brewfather is I've got it on 3 devices. When I'm over in the shipping container, getting the grain for the brew, I can just use my phone. And then, like I said, double batch. I've got it on more than one device. I don't know how many devices you can have it on, but I've got it on 3. When I went from home brewing into Brewfather, I always write a recipe with percentages, so you can just put them in as percentages. The real challenge when upscaling as a home brewer to a commercial brewer is the equipment. So efficiency, hop utilisation, the size of the vessel itself changes hop utilisation. Every brewery is completely different. It can make your beer a lot better. Like, it'll give you exact percentages. So if we're to scale up from this, we can just scale up using Brewfather. It also data logs, so you can go back and look at when you brewed, when you fermented, when it finished fermenting, when you dry hopped, and it'll tell you all these things, so it's a good data log as well for each beer. Honestly, it's commercial quality and everyone can have it, so link in the description below, hit it and you get 5% off. Now back to the Brew Day brewers. We're coming up on our 1250 now, 1254 litres. So that's it there. I'm going to cut the transfer pump off. We're at our kettle volume, 1254. Now we're going to mash out. Okay brewers, this is why it's important to have backup equipment. We've broken our Hanna instrument, being a heavy-handed fuckwit. But you know, all I see is solutions brewers, nothing's a problem. So here's my second pH meter. Hopefully it doesn't get to that Mabika brewers. This is the one I drink out of. That's a shame. Anyway, chilla! We're on the boil, brewers. There goes the hot break. Add our boil salts. Got to be careful doing that, eh? The way I'm going today. We're off and racing. Now, brewers, we're getting there with the subscriptions. We're 49% subscribed now, brewers. Pretty happy with that. Is there a guy that does thumbs down on every video? Oh, I've made it, brewers. I have a hater. Like and dislike, I don't give a fuck. Do what you want. It's all engagement. Anyway, brewers, for those of you who have subscribed, if you're part of the 49%, thumbs up. Yeah, really appreciate your support of the channel. The kettle is quite volatile at the moment because we haven't had a hop addition. So you really want to keep an eye on your kettle in the first 10 minutes. We've got a 50-minute hop addition for 150 grams of Citra, and that'll give us some kettle stability. So just on off with a direct fire kettle. It's not as much control if you're lucky enough to have a steam driven kettle. We're just going to take our first sample anyway, just to see how our pH is and our gravity. So we'll go down, do our first sample, we'll add those hops, then we'll do a second and third. You know, the drill, brewers. One thing you got to watch too, make sure your kettle gets full attention. Even on the second mash in, kettle gets full attention. A couple of different things on the next mash. Our HLT is going to be at 95 degrees C. I usually set the HLT to 88 degrees Celsius. So we introduce small amounts of cold, and most of it is hot because you've got that shocked value from the grain, the temperature of the grain, to the 88 degrees Celsius. So you have to keep in mind that now our kettle's set at 95. So we're going to have to introduce more cold. We do it on the fly, just take your time, but at the same time we also have to give full attention to the kettle as well. It's a bit of a juggling act for about 20 minutes of mash in, and then it's pretty easy sailing after that. Smooth sailing, brewers. Going off everywhere. So we just had our 50 minutes, 150 grams of Citra in. Just had a little bit of boil over nearly. So that should give that kettle some stability now, that first top addition. We've also done 10-minute checks and our pH is spot on, 5.2. And we're sitting at 1045 at the moment. But we've got nearly 1,270 litres in the tank, so we'll come right back to 1,200, 1220 or something like that, and we should hit 1047 what we're chasing. We're just prepping our salts for the second boil. So everything's ready to go, prepped. So we're going to be under a little bit of pressure, brewers, in a second. The pressure, when's the pressure going to hit? It's going to hit soon, Clary. We're about halfway in the boil, so I'm just going to run the wort. It's roughly about 50 litres through the pipe work and the heat exchange. back into the kettle, just so if there's any DMS or anything in that wort, we get a good volatile rolling boil. It's just another way to sanitise our heat exchange and pipe work. So we know we've had our parasitic loop in the pipe work and the heat exchange, but now we're running boiling wort through it, so it's another sanitised loop. So just run out, make sure we've swapped out that wort that hasn't yet been boiled. I'm also going to clear the sight glass. I'll show you how I do that. I don't know if it makes that much of a difference, but it's a little bit OCD that I do it. It is what it is. So it's just to make sure, brewers, that what's in the sight glass gets fully boiled as well, sanitised, and any DMS or anything removed. Yes, overkill, but I do it anyway. Right, now we know, brewers, that all the wort will be boiled, sanitised. Any DMS in it will be removed via the rolling boil. Full stop, mate. I've had enough. Sunday. Double brewing on a Sunday for you, brewers. All right, we're going to take a half an hour sample. Want to chill our sample, brewers, down to 20 degrees C. That's where our specific gravity is most accurate. And same with our pH meter. So because my backup hasn't got a temperature gauge, but the old density meter does have a temperature gauge. See how we're traveling. 50 degrees C, it's too hot to take a sample. 10:45 still. We're coming up a bit. We're hot, that's why we're reading 5. So when that comes back closer to 20 degrees, we get an accurate measurement. We're sitting around the 5.2, which is what we're shooting for. 20, we've got 2 minutes, brewers, and that's when it's on, it's go time. So we're gonna preheat our mash tun now, brewers. All the valves are still open at the bottom, the dump valves. Gonna quick preheat because our HLT is at 95 degrees Celsius. That's plenty. Now we'll close up our valves so we're ready to go. Hot liquor's out. 23 minutes, brewers, that's us. It's go time. Mashing in again. So like I said, this is what works for our system. If you're doing a double brew, it could be different, but we're mashing in. Like I said, we're going to introduce more cold this time because we're at 95 as opposed to 88. In go your ice holes. This should have been ready. Anyway. Salt's in, which should have already been prepped, and they weren't. And we start introducing our grain. Just going to slow that down. If you have a look, we'll let that grain catch up. Nothing's a problem, brewers. We're in control of our hot liquor, so we can stop it at any time. And keep an eye on our kettle as well, so it's all on now at the moment. So this got a lag because it's a gas direct fire. So simple on off, it'll reset, so it'll slow it down. In go our rolled oats. Just going to slow that down a bit. Slow our grain in, down. Keep Keep an eye on your kettle, brewers. We've got a 15-minute edition of El Dorado, which will give us 5 IBU, 15-minute boil. Just sneaking that temp up. That's all we're doing. We don't want to overshoot, denature our enzymes. 15 minutes yet or what? You know who will tell me? Brewfather, the sponsor of this video. Brewers. Last bit of the grist to come in. 67.4 degrees. Just go turn the grain mill off. 66.9. Gonna add a little hot. Not much. That'll do. Take our 15-minute sample. That wasn't that bad, was it, brewers? 67. More like Devon. Looking good for our gravity and looking good for our pH. Back up on the back up on the back up for the mash. Second batch running. That's right, only best for you brewers. Take our pH sample. That's what we're shooting for, 5.2. 67 degrees Celsius on your dot, brewers. That's it, brewers, we're bludgeon. It's nearly beer o'clock. No. All right. 5 minutes to the brew desk, to the brew deck. So brewers, we're 10 minutes into the second mash, and now we're performing our 5-minute edition of Mosaic. There it goes. Watch your boil over. Listen to it, I got dual Brewfathers. If I had my phone out, I can give you an epileptic fit. Miss Scusi. Oh, brewers. 10:46.8. 10:47 we're chasing. 4 minutes to boil. Happy with that. Prep our next brew. Now, so you miss little things when you're brewing and filming, brewers. So a bit of a shit show when I was getting the salts together for the second mash. I didn't do it because I've allowed you to come into the brewery. So do us a favour and subscribe, comment, ask a question. I will answer all the questions in the world. Statements, on the other hand, bite me. No. Tell me about this bloke, give me a thumbs down. Stay consistent, brah. All right, happy pappy. Just going to turn our tanks off, brewers. That way we have the most efficient cooling ability. So nothing's in rapid fermentation at the moment, so we're fine. A couple of the tanks are empty, and everything else is below 3 degrees. Just bring our cold liquor down to -8. Then we're going to recirc back into the kettle to take the edge off that, so we get it about 85 degrees. That's end of boil, so let's kill it. End of boil, pump on. So we're recircing back. We're adding cold water to one half of the heat exchange, then it's returning to the hot liquor tank. This also comes from our rainwater tank. So we maintain that rainwater, no chlorinated water or fluoride in our water. And then we're gonna, the other side of the heat exchange, the cold liquor will go through that. We'll bring the kettle down to 85 and then send it to the whirlpool. Manual pump on. Confirm. Now we've got cold liquor running through, but we're running back into the tank. You can just see how it's going. So you're lucky I checked that, brewers. It's got a double valve and one of them was shut. So just let that equalise now. There we go, beautiful. Just bring up our kettle now. Keep an eye on our kettle if you want to have a look. We're coming down pretty quick. We're at 103, 104, now we're 97, 98. And the reason we do this as well, brewers, so we take the heat, the initial heat, that shock heat out of the wort, and the pump will perform much better. It won't cavitate. If you send boiling wort through this style of pump, it'll cavitate. So it'll help bring our wort temperature down. If we're going to have a whirlpool edition, it'll help with that so we can get our temperature spot on. We're not too hot. So we get a good hop aroma out of our Whirlpool edition, and we don't pull out any bitterness of the hops as well. So that's the idea. Chill it down. We're just going to switch our pump. Cold liquor pump off. Cold liquor pump off. Close our cold water in. And then we're just going to let this equalise back to that temperature, to the temperature that's in the kettle at the moment, which is 85 degrees C. So we'll let that come back. Sit there, send it. Obviously double check your dump valves are closed, which I have, they are. So we're sending it. We're now 46 minutes into the second mash as well. We're sending to the Whirlpool for a 15-minute rest. So now, brewers, we just open the dump valve of the kettle. I'm just going to give it a quick rinse. Like I said, we're brewing the same beer into it. It doesn't have to be clean the same if it was end of brew day. So we've set a 15-minute timer now for our Whirlpool. What that'll do, that'll clear the wort, creates a low pressure in the centre, and all the solids that carried over from the kettle will precipitate out to the centre of the Whirlpool, and we'll pull the fresh wort off the side, so we'll have nice, clean, clear wort. Just a rough clean, get those hops out. It's not like an end of brew day clean. 30 minutes to go in the mash. We're just going to now set our mash bed. So we'll just slowly turn the rakes the other way and then kill it. It's a nice, evenly spread mash, and now it'll settle. We've got 11 minutes to go in the Whirlpool, so let's prep our fermenter for knockout. Just going to put the remaining paracetic acid into the blow-off bucket. So we've got a sanitised blow-off bucket then, and then we'll recapture the remaining. What does that sound? Brewer's ears. Brewer's anxiety. All right, brewers, now we're going to clear out any hop debris that came from the Whirlpool pump. So when we recirc through back into the kettle, it picks up hop debris. If you have a look here, you can see it on the bottom. So we don't want to send that to the fermenter, so we're going to send that to the trade waste. No, we're not. No, because you've got to open the valve, otherwise it won't come out, you know? Idiot. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. See the hop debris? We're just going to clear that. Look at that. Oh, beautiful work. And now we're going to do the same to the heat exchange. See all the hop debris in it? See how green she looks? See that change? That's that air bubble. That's showing you that it's not nice, clear, clean wort now. There she is. So we'll now hook it up to the fermenter. And we're just going to go over our fermenter that our valves are shut, open, shut. Yep. That's it. So it's time to knock out. So, brewers, first things first, cold water in. Manual pump on for the ice pump, and then send it. Doof and doof and doof and doof and doof. Copyright, copyright. Beautiful, mate. Nice, clear, clean wort. It's hazy, of course, Claire. We want it hazy. It is the hazy pale, after all. brewers, we have to keep our eye on a couple of things while we're knocking out. Firstly, our temperature in our uni tank. We want to go in pretty hot because we're making a starter with this yeast. Also want to check our cold liquor tank temp as well. So we've got to keep an eye on a few things. Volumes going in. Yeah, so we're sitting at about 25.7 at the moment, so I just slowed that pump down a bit. We want to pitch our starter at 24 degrees C. So we want it 24 degrees C on the bottom sensor, and also our hot liquor tank too. We'll keep an eye on that. So we want that sparge water ready, and now we're at 15 minutes too. So now we're going to start our verl off on our second mash. Through the sight glass, looks good. It's going to bring our hertz up to 16.5, 16.5. So we're knocking out, verl off, and keep an eye on our temp. So if we dip below the 24, all we have to do is speed our pump up. We'll pass through quicker and have less heat exchange. Or we can close one of the valves on the cold water, or restrict the valve on the cold liquor and slow that down. But we're looking good. We're 500 litres in and we're sitting at 25.1, so we'll continue to cool down. Advantages, brewers, of double brewing. Our yeast pitch, because we're creating a big starter effectively, we can go on the lower side of the pitch, which is 50 grams per hectolitre, rather than the usual 80 which we pitch. It's a money saving exercise there. It also brings the cost of your yeast down to about 9 cents a litre as opposed to 11. So cost effective, and yeah, cheaper you make the beer, the better it is for your business. Except when you fuck you. All right, we're just going to give this quick hot rinse, and then she's ready. That's it. Ready for the next brew. That's Whirlpool clean and still on our verl off. See, we're pretty clear. We've got about 3 minutes to go on our verl off. Our hot liquor tank got a bit cold, so we're sitting at 75. So we're just going to continue that verl off until we reach 77. That's the verl off finish, but we're going to extend it just till we reach 77 degrees in the hot liquor tank, and then we'll start our transfer and fly sparge brewers. So like I said, we're just going to continue to verl off until we get our 77. We're at 75 at the moment, so we've got a bit of time. We're going to go pitch our yeast. So we're just pitch and ditch, obviously. All right. I'm just going to hook our product line back up to the inlet on the kettle so we don't waste this work. Second brew going in. Close the kettle dump valve. So we preheated our kettle once again, just to process brewers, and now we're repeating it. Slowly open our transfer, slowly close our valve off. Kick the kettle in the guts. It's brew day. Not use that, see? Thousand litre check, second batch. 10:14. We're running hot, so good sign, brewers. Nearly finished the fly sparge brewers. I'm going to try and judge it, so minimal hot liquor waste. Stop the sparge at about 11.75, and we'll top up with what's remaining in the mash tun, like we did previously on the first batch. Yeah, no? We're away, brewers. Second brew on the boil. Just added the boil salts. It's hot, brewers. Damn hot. It's nearly beer o'clock. First hop addition. We settle this kettle down. We're nearly getting boil over. A Greek style yogurt mad. Food grade container clay. That was shit. Half an hour checks. Come and check the numbers. 1074. 1047.4. So we can dilute if we want. And 5.2 on the pH. Boil over. This is what happens when I come down. Not watching the kettle. Anyway. Tap you. The same as the previous brew, brewers, because we're brewing it again. That was El Dorado for 15 minutes, 5 IBU. Now we're going to do 15-minute checks, brewers, to the brew desk. I think we're just reiterating, Claire, that brewing's a process, brewers. You don't skip the process and you make good beer. So 15-minute checks, whether you want to watch it or not. We're at 50 degrees and we're 1046, so we may have to do a little dilution, brewers. But 5.1 at 50 degrees, we're going to be around the 5.2 mark. We'll let that wort cool down. 12 minutes to go. It's been a long Sunday, brewers. Last edition for the Double Brew Day Sunday. We have 900 grams of Mosaic, 5 minutes, 5 IBU. Let's turn the sound down on the fucking thing. And that's Brew Day. Brew Day. Brew Day. Just let that heat equalise. So this is what doesn't carry over to the whirlpool, brewers. A lot of hop debris. And then whatever has will settle, precipitate out to the bottom. So now we're going to clean the kettle completely, scrub the bottom, and then 15-minute rest, and then we'll knock out. Might go to the beer garden for a bit. What do you reckon? It is Sunday. Beautiful. All right, and you'll see now, because we've made a starter, brewers. You ready? Positive pressure in the tank, so the ladies are at work. The yeast are aerobic at the moment, brewers. They'll be aerobic for a few days, so we could have even done this brew the next day. But because of the efficiencies of double brewing and even triple brewing, you pick up all that time along the way. Like I said, it's only been about 8 hours, and we're knocking out, so 2 hours extra we've done a double brew. So the efficiency of the yeast too, because we've made a massive starter. There's so many benefits of double brewing in a day. Today's been pretty smooth though. It can blow out sometimes. Probably by the time we're all said and done, it'll be 9 hours of a brew day. So we picked up that extra time. Very efficient. We're on target 21.9. Our fermentation's already kicked off, so what we do now, we're on our probably the last 300 litres of knockout. We're going to close the CIP valve now. And you'll see over time, we'll build positive pressure back in the tank and it will come out the blow off. All right, I'm happy, we're in. Let's dump the valves there, son. So that's a double brew day on a Sunday. Got dragged out of bed by Clary. Anyway, like and subscribe if you haven't already. It helps us grow the channel. Hit the link in the description below to Brewfather. Highly recommend it. See you on the next vid. Hooroo. Beat it. Hooroo.